What is going on, everyone? Back with another episode of the 161st Street Show. I am your host, Joseph Esposito. And before we get into today's topic, please like, subscribe, and comment on this video. I'm very appreciative of all the support we've gotten recently. We just jumped over 50 subscribers on the channel, so let's keep that momentum going. And let's dive into today's topic. So today we're gonna be talking about three non-roster invites that are in Yankee spring training camp who I believe have the opportunity to make the roster out of spring training. Now, some of these guys are a little more complex than others. Some of these guys are prospects. Some of these are straight up non-roster invites. So I'll delve into each person and kind of give my, evaluation on what I think they can do to make the team. And if they can't make the team out of spring, how could see that path forward? So first, we'll start off by talking about the guy that everyone has been talking about this week, and that is Carlos Lagrange, the Yankees' number 2 prospect. He is 6'7", 248-pound right-handed pitcher. He had a great 2025 season in both high A and double A, pitching to a 3.53 ERA with 168 strikeouts in 120 innings between both, as I mentioned, high A and double A this past season. His four-seam fastball, which is the thing that everyone is very excited about and something that jumps off the page, he sat around 98 miles per hour, and he was able to even top out at 103.1 in live action this past season. Obviously, very exciting. That's what's going to grab a lot of people's attention. Everyone saw what he did to Aaron Judge in live batting practice this past week. Froze him on a 102.6 fastball on the painted on the corner. Super exciting. It's crazy. I mean, to be throwing 102 in February, I don't think it can be understated how insane that is. That's not common at all. I know that people are getting desensitized to velocity as, people are just, coming up throwing harder, and it's just kind of a natural thing. But throwing 102 in February is absolutely insane. That is so crazy. I can't get over it. I'm just going to read an excerpt from MLB Pipeline scouting report of Lagrange. So they say Lagrange sits at 97 to 99 mile per hour fastball, reaches 102 with his fastball. He's showing more consistent carry and arm side run and command with this heater. His sweeping 82 to 85 mile per hour slider can be a well above average offering at its best, and he's doing a better job of landing it for strikes this year. He can also turn his slider into an upper 80s cutter and has upgraded his feel for his upper 80s changeup with some fade and depth. Lagrange doesn't create much extension in his delivery, but does work from a low 3/4 slot that provides a flat approach angle. He'll likely never have pinpoint control, but he has improved his ability to locate his arsenal. He has the stuff to be a frontline starter or closer and is creating much more optimism that he'll be able to reach his lofty ceiling. He pitched 3 innings of live BP against the likes of Judge, Stan, and Bellinger, as I mentioned this past week. And as I mentioned earlier in the video, he struck out Judge on 102.6 mile per hour fastball, and that was shortly after he had already surrendered a home run to Aaron Judge, and I believe it was a 99 mile per hour fastball. This is what Aaron Judge had to say about Carlos Lagrange. We set up some nasty lineups against him today. He didn't care. He wanted to be out there, and he came right after it. That's what you need if you're going to play in the Bronx. If you're going to play in New York, you got to have that demeanor. Aaron Judge then went on to compare him to a former elite Yankees reliever, Dylan Betances, and he said, you think back to when Dylan was taller and even a little different from Lagrange, but when he was on, you just see some consistently really bad swings. So now I'll kind of get into the likelihood of Lagrange breaking camp with the team. Although, as of right now, I do believe it is unlikely. Obviously, if the starters stay healthy, he would have to put up there's pretty much 2 options. He would either have to put up an unbelievable spring training, and then pitchers like Luis Heel or Will Warren would have to take a step back where the Yankees would feel it would be the best decision for the ball club at that time to bring up Lagrange. That'd be a big risk. He hasn't pitched at AAA yet, so sending him right to the majors would definitely be a bold decision on their part. One thing you could see is the Yankees using Lagrange as a reliever. Now, would they be willing to do it? I don't know. They have in the past used people that they saw as potential future starters as relievers because they weren't ready yet to be that starter, but they knew they could have an impact in the bullpen. Players like Michael King obviously comes to mind as one of those people that, fit that criteria. I think Lagrange definitely has the stuff. Obviously, the elite fastball, the changeup, the sweeper, and the gyro slider he throws. I definitely like his outlook, though, as a starter. I've kind of been back and forth on this just because the Yankees bullpen is very a huge question mark at the moment. There's not They have a lot of flyers where you could say, I like this, I like that. You have like the guys like Cade Winquist, Paul Blackburn, Phil Montero. So you kind of have a few people that you're like interested in, but far from a sure thing. So the Yankees kind of have to have a few of those options pan out. I would much prefer Lagrange to go down to AAA, get some starts under his belt. And I could very well see him entering the starting rotation at some point in this season, depending on, like I said, the bounce back of Garrett Cole and Carlos Rodon from their injuries. Obviously, how Will Warren and Luis Hill and Ryan Weathers all look. And obviously, then the overall health of the rotation, see where it's at. But I definitely believe Lagrange is going to have some sort of impact on the team, whether that becomes from starting or relieving. But we'll see if he's able to break camp with the team. I wouldn't be shocked if he, looked great and, people were clamoring for it, but we'll see. The Yankees generally try not to rush pitchers along that quickly. So we'll see what they want to do in that regard. On to the next guy that we're going to talk about in this video, Harrison Cohen. Usually ranked, depending on which alley you're looking at, as around a borderline top 30 prospect. He was an undrafted free agent in 2022 out of George Washington University. In 3 minor league seasons, he's pitched across all levels, including AAA last year, and he's posted a 2.42 ERA with a 1.12 WHIP and 155 strikeouts in 130 innings. Cohen throws a four-seam fastball, a cutter, a changeup, and a slider. His two best pitches are his slider and cutter, since both those pitches got a 60 grade on his scouting report, and his changeup has a 55 and his four-seamer a 50. His control overall is a 45, and that's due to his current 5.3 walks per nine that he posted this past season. To be, an effective big league reliever, he definitely will need to be cut down on his walks. You can't come in and out of the bullpen and be walking people. And obviously, if you're having that problem in AAA, there's not an exact one-to-one correlation that, hey, if he's posting this in AAA, so he's going to post this in the majors. It's going to go up, X amount. So there's not that direct correlation. To, have an opportunity at making the team, he's definitely going to need to work on that. This is from a scouting report. Cohen thrives despite having a fastball that is ordinary in terms of velocity, sitting at 92 to 94, touching 96, and he struggles to land in the strike zone. He compensates for a lack of elite velocity on his four-seamer with a mid-80 slider and a slightly harder cutter that have been nearly unhittable. His mid-80s changeup also creates lots of swing and misses with its fade and sink. Now, you can kind of get the impression of what the Yankees organization thinks of Harrison Cohen. They did not protect him in the upcoming this past Rule 5 draft by adding him to the 40-man roster, which obviously exposed him to being able to be selected by any major league team, much like the Yankees did with Cade Winquist from the Cardinals organization. So definitely, I feel like it will be an uphill battle for Harrison Cohen. But if he can show that, he's cleaned up his control a little bit, he lowers his walk. Like I said, the Yankees have so many just essentially flyers, uncertain things in the bullpen that there's so many spots up for grabs that I could definitely see Harrison Cohen being someone that, grabs those spots if he, really excels in spring training, and some of the other guys the Yankees maybe had pegged ahead of him end up kind of faltering. So we'll see on that, but I definitely could see a path forward for Harrison Cohen to making the organization or making the roster out of camp. The last guy I'm going to speak about in this video is Dylan Coleman. Dylan Coleman has not pitched in the big leagues since he threw just one inning for the Astros back in 2024. He struggled in AAA in these past 2 seasons, pitching to a 6.50 ERA in 2024 and then a 4.91 in 2025. Coleman had a breakout campaign in 2022 with the Royals. He pitched in 68 games, throwing 68 innings. He had an ERA of 2.78, a FIP of 3.88, and striking out 71 batters. He did have a walk issue. He ranked in the 3rd percentile with a 12.8% walk rate. The thing that got everyone excited about Coleman was his fastball. He was sitting at 97 in his breakout campaign, and he was able to get it over 100 miles per hour. And then out of nowhere in 2023, Coleman just absolutely fell off a cliff. He pitched in 18 1/3 innings for the Royals. He posted 8.84 ERA, and they unloaded him right to the Astros. The biggest concern, I would say, for Coleman is that his fastball velocity dropped over 2 miles per hour from 2022 to 2023. Coleman, again, is a very interesting case. He was a very high ranked prospect for the Padres. Then he kind of fell off. He had to go to, forgot what league he pitched in, but it was a semi-pro league, I believe, and he had to rebuild his value. He obviously gained his velocity back in his fastball. The Royals took a chance on him, and he rewarded them with an excellent 2022 and then a lackluster 2023. The biggest concern is the Astros are notorious kind of pitching organization, just much like the Yankees with Matt Blake and Sam Breed. They do an excellent job with pitchers. Obviously, you've seen what they've done with Garrett Cole, developing players like Framber Valdez. They got a lot of out of Lance McCullers, so they generally take guys that are either not great and make them average, or average and make them good, good and make them great, so on and so forth. So definitely very concerning the Astros couldn't fix him. Obviously, that's not to say that the Yankees couldn't fix him. If he can recapture that velocity that he had back in 2022, he could be a very exciting, option for the Yankees bullpen. They don't have too many high velocity relievers. They have Duvall. They have, Bednar, who throws pretty hard. But the Yankees did last season lacked a lot of velocity in their bullpens. If Coleman can regain his 2022 form with his fastball and, begin to throw upwards of 100 miles per hour and average around 97 miles per hour in his fastball, he could be a very exciting option. Again, the Yankees bullpen is absolutely full of flyer options. So it's going to be really interesting to see who kind of rises to the top of all those people, because there's so many options, there's so many arms. So be very interesting. Spring training is going to be very important for so many of these roster bubble relievers. But that's all I have for you today. Like I said in the beginning of the video, like, comment, subscribe, and let's go Yankees. Have a good one, everyone.